Welcome, everyone. My name is Pawlowski. I'm a software engineering manager at Red Hat. I manage two teams that are somehow related to CI systems in OpenShift. And today I'm going to talk about engineering your own career goal. So let's think actually what is the career path, because we are going to talk today about the career path and promotions, and I think it's important to understand like what those terms are. So there is a lot of definitions, but I decided to choose this one. So the career path can be defined as a structured progression of roles, responsibilities, skills, and experiences that guide the personal growth over time. And what is promotion there? Like in my understanding, promotion is just like a part of career progression. So we are going to talk about the details later, but there is like a little bit difference. So the promotion, in my understanding, is just like event during the career path progression. So why actually companies invest in the career growth? Because everyone is hearing that, you know, if you want to, I don't know, get more money, you should be promoted. So why is it so? Recognizing effort, recognizing increases motivation and loyalty of the employees. And also it avoids costly hiring. So simply, if the company recognizes your contributions, you feel that you are appreciated, then it's less possible that that you are going to leave the company, right? And also, employees better that are promoted, in my opinion, they better understand the business, make faster decisions, make more accurate decisions. And what is also important, by growing your skills and responsibilities, you become more effective, which actually directly translates to the financial value for the company. So what is then the promotion? As I said, it's just an event that comes usually with increased responsibilities, with higher expectations, and a new title, and possibly a pay raise. So I see some smiles here, because yes, this is usually the primary motivations why people want to be promoted. But let's take a look on these things here. So here are the titles. These are sample titles that usually are used in the companies. Of course, sometimes use names, sometimes use numbers like SD3, SD4. So these are basically the levels, right? That companies use to differentiate where you are at on the scale of maturity as an engineer. So in the gray background, we have more junior positions like interns, junior engineers. Then red background are the software engineers and senior engineers. And the blue is more mature positions like principal, senior principal, and distinguished. And usually there is way more than that, so the list is usually way longer. But what I want to show here is a chart demonstrating percentage of these engineers between the company. I struggle to actually gather this data. Usually that's something that companies keep to themselves. So this is primarily based on my own experience and also some data that I got from different sources. And interns and associates are usually less than 10% of the engineers between the company. Software engineers are usually somewhere around like 30%, while senior software engineers are around 40%. And principal and senior principal and distinguished are usually less than 5–10%. And I marked here the sweet spots because this is actually where, in my experience, most of the engineers would like to be in. So they like to be senior software engineers. Like if you ask yourself, most probably you're going to say, yeah, I want to be senior, right? You're not actually thinking about the other positions that are like down in this chart. Why is it so? In many cases, this is caused by the fact that engineers do not want to get more responsibilities, right? And it's okay, because if you want to grow, you not always need to grow in terms of the positions that you have. You can also grow laterally, like expand your scope, but just in different direction. And what are alternatives then to promotions? Because this slide basically demonstrates the promotions path, right? That is frequently associated with the career growth. But I'm just going to say that it's not necessarily the true. So you may think about extending your role horizontally, like for instance, becoming a team leader or maybe even staff engineer. And you may be a little bit confused because in many companies, the titles like staff engineers or architects are actually positions, but not always. So you simply may assume the other role, but still between the same, let's say, responsibilities, right, or the same level. And you may also consider joining another project. That's also a good thing. Like, you may ask your colleagues around, like, maybe you need to have someone with UI experience in the other team, and you have one. Maybe as a student, you were passionate about front-end development, and that's also one of the options. You may also join some open source communities if you want to grow, right? And switching teams is also one of the options. New team is going to offer you a new environment. Probably you are using different programming languages. They may also have different procedures, different, like another team culture. Maybe there are some skills that are actually missing in that team. So that's the opportunity for you to actually stand out and demonstrate your skills. And maybe they even develop some of them in case the team has some mixture of levels, like maybe there are more experienced engineers than you are, and maybe you're going to simply get some new skills there. And new teams might be a better alignment for you by simply the fact that they are different, right? Changing jobs is something very much similar. However, I would like to underline that you should always consider looking for jobs internally first, because there's plenty of positions that you simply may not know about. And here I would like to say that if you're thinking about changing job, you are frequently thinking about yet another software engineer position, but just in a different company. If you're changing jobs internally, you have actually a unique opportunity to try something else. Like, try to find something, I don't know, as a technical writer maybe, or as a project manager, right? Because your skills as a software engineer frequently are actually needed there, right? So it's going to be easier for you, and maybe that's not a bad change to change to something completely else, right? And changing job comes with risk, right? There's a lot of unknowns. You don't know what environment you're going to be in, what's going to be the working culture, etc. Right? So these are the things that you actually need to consider and think about them, right? So now I'm going to talk a little bit more about how to think about your career growth and how to design it for yourself. So first, we are going to talk about identifying your motivations, thinking about the timeline, also defining your long-term journey, and considering environmental factors, aligning the goals, and creating a development plan, and tracking and presenting your results. And of course, you would need to revisit this plan all over again because probably your environment is changing, maybe you have some different opportunities, so it's a continuous thing, right, that should be repeated over the time. Let's think about motivations, because there's always something happening, right? Maybe there are some random events in your life that are causing you to think, well, like, should I think about something else? And maybe you're just starting the first job right after the university. Maybe you're seeking for some recognition within the team, or you would like to have more impact, right? So these are very common reasons why people like to start thinking about their career paths. And most of these points here are more reactive approach. You may think that reactive approach is probably not good because, something happens and then I started thinking about what to do. Of course, proactive approach might be better in the sense that you have more influence on your career. But on the other hand, my experience is that if there is unexpected opportunity that just came up, this unexpected opportunity is not that unexpected because probably your managers already thought about, maybe this person is better somewhere else, right? And I think they're all equally good, right? So there is nothing wrong with having this reactive approach as well, in my opinion. So I think you should design your long-term journey, right? So you should think about, first, in my opinion, about your needs and about your expectations. And also, what does the promotional career actually mean to you? So it's like TDD or BDD, right? First, you are thinking about what you want to have, and then you should think about how to get there, right? And while thinking about it, I think you should answer yourself a few boring questions. Those are questions that are probably asked on every single interview or every single quarterly connections by your manager. But you actually might be surprised if you just close your eyes and you think about it for a second, what answers you are going to come up with. So what motivates you to get up in the morning and start working, right? You're a software engineer. What happens that you're actually doing those things, right? Then yet another question is, how do you see yourself in 1, 2, 3, or 5, or 10 years? Try to think about it right now, right? Just do this exercise. And you're going to surprise yourself. Then also it's good to think about what are the requirements for the next level, but also for the target level. As I mentioned before, you might be a junior engineer, but you're targeting to be a senior in the future, right? So try to think about what's the target level requirements here. You should also consider the environmental factors. Factors like, what are the business needs of my company? What are my team's needs? What are my manager's needs? And frequently thinking about defining your own career path, you should also consider that there are people who are going to actually influence that. Maybe not, of course, there are some who are going to decide, but you have your mentors around you, you have your teams around you, right? So try to think, try to put yourself in their shoes and try to think what do they think about me? What do they want me to do? And also you should consider all cultural aspects, do I speak the same language like my manager? I mean, does my manager actually understand me? Or do my mentors understand me? Do I understand exactly the same thing, using the same terms? So try to think about those things. And talking about understanding, in my opinion, communication is crucial. So whenever you're thinking about advancing your career, it's, here you have a simple table demonstrating requirements for given positions during the promotion process. And most of these requirements are not about your technical skills. They are more about your soft skills. And why soft skills are that important? Because they help you to grow, because you're expanding your scope, you're building your own network through communication, through collaboration, and similar things. So this is the reason why they are there. And if you're expanding your scope, you're also extending your technical knowledge by doing that. And it's extremely important, in my opinion, to build your network around you. So by network, I understand your colleagues, teams that you cooperate with, your mentors, your mentees, because if you have the network, you can, first of all, negotiate more effectively. You can gather people around you. You can convince them to your ideas. Your position is getting stronger by that. And also your impact increases, and you learn faster by this. And you're probably thinking that your manager is the person that you're going to reach out when you first think about the promotion or doing any changes in your career. And that's okay, because your manager is going to help you to understand what are the requirements. They're going to also drive you in the sense of they're going to maybe push you to get some mentors and mentees. They're going to push you to do this and that projects, right? But I think managers may, I'm not saying that is always the case, but may not understand the technical complexity of your projects. Sometimes there are people managers, they do not have that much experience in the stuff that your teams are actually doing. And also your direct managers, sometimes they were engineers, right? Sometimes they know like what are your daily struggles. But in many cases, they didn't reach these higher levels. I mean, you remember when I was showing the levels, right? Those that were in the they were in the bottom, so principal, senior principal, etc. And they may not understand fully what are actual requirements for these positions. This is also because not only managers decide on your promotions, but also those people that are on these higher levels, right? And that's why it's important to have technical mentors that are on these higher levels, right? Levels above you, so that they can share their experience. They may help you to identify the impactful projects, and also consider having some mentors that are out of your direct organization. So, for instance, if you are working in engineering, try to find mentors from, let's say you are working in OpenShift, right? Try to find some mentors from RHEL or from, I don't know, like Ansible or some completely like other departments, because they may give you completely different perspective, right? They are using probably different technologies, they have different team cultures, and they may simply provide you better directions or other directions, not necessarily better. And of course, you should check in with your mentors on a regular basis, just to simply track your progress and get the feedback. And we're talking about questions that you should ask yourself, but also there are, in my opinion, important questions that you should ask to your mentors. And those questions are going to give you like better perspective on their expectations and their experience. So ask your mentors, what is to be like and be on your position, or how your workday looks like, what are your responsibilities, right? So those questions are going to help you to figure out what is the level that you would like to achieve, right? You're going to have some examples to follow, but also ask them about their career path and about their experiences during the promotion process, or ask them why they're on these positions, what were their motivations, right? So I think one of the important questions is like, what do you expect from someone at your level, right? Because it may open your eyes. Maybe there are some things that you're not even aware of in terms of their expectations. And I think it's extremely important to prepare a plan and also put it in writing and share with the others, so that it's easier for you to track the progress, also your strengths and weaknesses. You can easily reassess the plan whenever there is a need. And I think the most important part here is that if you put it in writing, you need to think what you're actually going to write there, right? Like, what are the things that I would like to do and how to achieve them? And you may be thinking, oh, I want to be a senior, but what does it mean, right? What does it mean to be more influential, to get in touch with the other teams or the other projects specifically, right? it's easy to say things, but if you start thinking about the details, well, it's not that easy to achieve those goals, right? So that's why I think writing it down is important primarily for you, not necessarily for your manager or your surroundings, but they can give you better opinions and share with you their experience. And tracking the progress and the results. Your career is perceived by the others by results you achieve, of course, like the projects that you work on, also how impactful you are, and the impact they usually measure through how you communicate, right? Like how you discuss with the others. What is the level of these discussions? And of course, it's also perceived by the goals that you have and your ambitions. But in terms of that, like, think about how you can influence the others see you, and also how to prove to them that you are capable of doing what you want to do, right? Because it's not really important that you have done like number of projects in the past. You should actually prove to the stakeholders, like the people that you work with, that it's not just the one-off thing that you have done, but you are capable to do it also in the future, and you are able to keep the progress, and you can elevate, right? And presenting the results, in my opinion, it has two key purposes. One is to show the impact to the others and the quality of your work, but even more important is to remind yourself that your contributions are valued. Because one of the primary reasons why people are thinking about the career change is because they do not feel valued in whatever they are doing, right? So try to just remind yourself that whatever you have done, it's actually something worth, right? Like that the quality of that is actually good, and you consider it to be the good job that you have done. And as I said, while presenting these achievements, try to not focus on the projects, right? Try to focus on outcomes. So business value, quality, impact, right, of those things. And also consider formats and intervals of presenting these results, the audience that you are going to present to, and also try to adapt these results to this audience, right? Like try to actually like speak their language, try to put yourself in their shoes, right? And demonstrate that your contributions are good, right? And valued. And I think we have time for questions. Be there.
Thank you. So my question is, I want to ask your perspective as a manager. From slide 16 to 18, you said plan, share, plan, write, and share. So do you think that if I make visible to the team that, okay, I'm working on this, and share with the accountability between yourselves, so maybe we're in 8 people, 9 people, people know what I want to achieve, and they can contribute to my strategy to get there. And sometimes some engineers, they come to me, hey, I want to achieve this, so I try to prioritize and assign those tasks to them. So some colleagues, they come to me and ask for that. So if there's one more stakeholder on that I try to satisfy. So based on your perspective as a manager, how would you see this kind of approach between the team? Do you see with good eyes, bad eyes, conflict of interests, maybe 2 people trying to reach the same thing, but you would try to explore, okay, you both can get there. So if you can picture this.
Well, in my opinion, there is nothing wrong with like competition, right, between the team. I think it's good, but I would not compare yourself to any other of your teammates, right? In my opinion, you should perceive your career path and your promotions just to achieve your goals, right? And I'm not sure if I understood the question right. So you're saying that if there are like two team members like always like competing and trying to achieve the same goals, right? Like, is it a good thing or not? Mm-hmm. I think it's really good, right? Because then you know what's the focus of your colleagues, and maybe you can identify the things that they didn't cover in their goals, right? Or just like get inspired by them.
You have shown that you should create a good network and look for mentors in other departments. What would you do in the situation of a senior software engineer who is receiving feedback from the other department leads that you should be 2 levels higher, but your own manager cannot value your work because without any technical knowledge, and is saying you should stay on your career level, and that across 3 or 4 years? How would you interact then?
That's a very good question, and that's why I mentioned that you should consider like all the environment variables here, right? Because I would say that try to put yourself in the manager in the shoes of your manager. Try to understand, you know, what's important to them. Try to speak their language again, right? Try to think about what are projects that they consider as important, and if that's difficult, because it might be difficult to do, try to again expand your network. I mean, meet people around you, these managers that you mentioned, right? And try to convince your manager that you're going the good path, right? But I think managers are also looking for feedbacks around, right? It's not like they're only looking for feedback like in your team, but they should be requesting feedback also from the other managers that you work with. And I would say that the fact that you're working with other teams as a software or senior software engineer is just like one of the requirements actually to get promoted, right? But also promotion is not the only way, right? So try to consider all these alternatives that I mentioned here, like changing teams, joining a project. You know, maybe by this you are also going to get some recognition. Sorry, ladies first, if you don't mind.
So, hi, you spoke that it's good to have a mentor. What is if in your company this culture is not so good? Because I searched for a mentor and I had no possibility to say that I searched a mentor for something, but I had only the possibility to see the mentors and what they teach. And when I approached one, he said, I don't know about that field, even if that was his field.
That's a good question. So first of all, in my opinion, your mentors do not need to be exactly in the same field, because they should provide you more high-level guidance, right? How to achieve your goals. Also, as I mentioned, all these skills that are usually required for promotion that is part of your career growth, right, are soft skills, right? So you should have also some mentors that are focused on that. But of course, technical mentors are also important. So I think it must be some kind of chemistry between mentors, right? Like and mentees. So that's what I'm telling everyone on my teams, that if we got matched with someone, this is most probably going to be a random person, right? Try to talk about non-work related things at first, like travels, hobbies, or whatever, right? And just to check whether you have a good connection with this person. And when it comes to the technical skills, like coming back to the last thing, if you do not feel this connection, I think you should be able to simply say that I don't want to continue this mentorship, because in my understanding, mentorships are long-lasting relationships, right? This is not just one meeting. And you should be able to simply like stop that without like explaining why, right? When it comes to finding mentors, there are several strategies. And I can speak for Red Hat OpenShift. We have tools actually to do that. We have something called Red Hat Link Up that are broadly advertised to everyone because that's the tool that allows you to match with a random person between the company. Can be even from different department, not even in engineering, right? And you are matched for 15 minutes talk, like once per month, once per 2 weeks, well, whatever cadence you choose. And this is how you build your network, right? You made connections. Even if you do not have any tools between your company, just create a spreadsheet, share it with the others, with name, email, I don't know, Slack, right, link or whatever, and just, you know, like try to match yourself or like try to do the matching, right? It's not really complicated. And I'm pretty sure you're going to find some people that are willing to do that.
Short answer in addition to this question. You should have a mentor or find one which is above of you, and this would be a task for your mentor. So no, the mentor should take some influence to your manager or to the line of your manager. Also, if they are in different departments? Yeah. It should, your mentor should be in different departments or different positions than you. Your manager should not be also your mentor. This would not fit. So your mentor should be some at the side, above side, but not in maybe in the direct line.
Yes, the problem in the past was that the different department was not allowed to influence the other department, and on this way,
it's your point of view.
Well, you know, sometimes like corporate is actually guilty of this kind of practices, right? That's true. But also you as an individual, you can influence people around you, right? And I agree with the statement that your mentor should not be from any of your direct neighborhood because they actually the perspective that is outside of your immediate team is extremely important. Okay.
So how you motivate a software engineer that he doesn't care to get promoted?
Excellent question. The engineer does not need to be promoted, right? This is actually what I mentioned here. Like 70% of engineers are staying in the software or senior software engineering role, and this is nothing wrong with that, right? I would still motivate them to somehow increase the scope, but without promotion. And that's completely fine. Like, why should they be, right? Today's talk is more about growing your own career, right? And you may grow your career as a software engineer, but also as a musician, you know? Like, maybe that's the good path. And this is, and that's actually interesting because people usually do not mention this. Like, if you do not feel comfortable in whatever you are doing, maybe you should change, right? That's why I mentioned about changing the job, right? Even between the company, because you may be good at something completely else, not necessarily related to software engineering, right? Maybe as a software engineer, you can join the sales team and just elevate sales of your product, right? Any other questions? Then thank you. Oh, there's one more.
Sorry, how often do you think one should like think about getting promotion? Like how often do you think it's okay to climb the ladder?
Every day. You should think about it constantly. But it's a difficult question to answer because the reason why you are getting promoted, that's something important to keep in mind. That the reason you get promoted is the promotion is not only the change of titles, it's also change of your responsibilities. And in many companies, the fact you are promoted means that you're already doing the job of the next level, right? And also, what is important in terms of these environmental factors that I mentioned here is that there must be a need to promote someone on the business level, right? So let's say you have the entire team full of seniors, and you would like to be promoted from software engineer to senior software engineer. Usually there is no business need to do that, right? So try to think about it also in that terms, and maybe changing teams in this specific case is something worth to consider. But how frequently? I would suggest to think about promotions depending on the seniority level. Once you're on the, let's say, more junior levels, it should be more frequent. Once you reach more senior levels, of course, it's not that frequent anymore, but I would suggest a period of like 3 to 5, 7 years, right, depending on the position. Okay, thank you then.